Biomedical research under siege. Funding chaos threatens decades of progress. The future of biomedical research in the United States hangs in the balance as political interference and funding freezes disrupt critical work across leading universities. Researchers, once confident in stable federal support, now face uncertainty, with projects stalled and years of data potentially lost. The situation highlights a growing tension between academic freedom and the administration's aggressive reshaping of higher education. Political interference and funding freezes. In September, Harvard epidemiologist Megan Murray received notification of a substantial new NIH grant to study long-term lung damage from tuberculosis. Yet, for months, Harvard had received no federal funding, leaving Murray and her colleagues in limbo. While the money was technically restored in October, the government shutdown rendered it inaccessible. This bizarre situation, simultaneously having and not having funding, encapsulates the chaos gripping biomedical research. The administration's actions stem from a broader campaign to punish universities deemed corrupt and promoting woke, socialist, and anti-American ideology. Harvard, targeted for alleged failures to protect students from antisemitism, found itself embroiled in a legal battle. A federal judge ruled the funding freeze violated First Amendment rights, but the administration vowed to appeal and potentially ban Harvard from federal funding altogether. Universities caught in the crossfire. Harvard is not alone. Other institutions, including Columbia, Brown, and the University of Pennsylvania, have faced similar pressure. Some have capitulated, agreeing to pay settlements or make concessions to restore funding. Columbia, for example, paid $221 million to the federal government to resolve discrimination charges. The administration has issued a sweeping compact to all colleges and universities, demanding they end diversity, equity, and inclusion programs, dismantle hostile departments, and limit international student enrollment. Compliance would grant priority access to grants, while refusal risks complete funding loss. MIT publicly rejected the proposal, citing its inconsistency with scientific merit-based funding. New College of Florida, however, enthusiastically embraced the administration's vision. The erosion of academic freedom. Critics warn that this approach federalizes higher education and threatens academic freedom. Sarah Spraitzer, of the American Council on Education, argues that grants should be awarded based on scientific merit, not political alignment. The administration's actions open the door for future administrations to impose their agendas on science, potentially stifling innovation for decades. Critical research at risk. The impact extends beyond academic debate. Murray's NIH grant supports a large consortium of scientists studying tuberculosis genetics, transmission, and long-term effects. Much of the work is conducted in Peru, where TB prevalence is far higher than in the United States, making it an ideal location for research. The Peruvian project, a key component of Murray's work, involves a decades-long study in Peru, where researchers have collected blood, saliva, and bacterial samples from thousands of participants. A lab in Lima, operated by Socios and Salad, the Peruvian arm of Partners in Health, houses these irreplaceable samples in multiple freezers. The lab already faces funding cuts from USAID, and Murray's NIH grant is crucial for continuing the work. The threat of lost data. The grant money would fund follow-up studies on patients previously cured of TB, assessing long-term lung damage and identifying genetic and environmental risk factors. Without the funds, researchers may be unable to recontact participants, rendering the stored samples useless. The lab itself may be forced to shut down, leading to job losses and the loss of years of accumulated data. Global health implications. Experts warn that disrupting this research has global health implications. Marilyn Bonnet, a medical epidemiologist, notes that little is known about the long-term effects of TB, and Murray's work is essential for understanding and mitigating those effects. The loss of this research could hinder the development of effective treatments and prevention strategies. Economic and intellectual costs. Beyond the immediate scientific impact, the disruption of biomedical research carries significant economic and intellectual costs. NIH spending generates $2.56 in economic activity for every dollar invested. Deep cuts to the NIH budget could wipe out 40% of that activity, slowing innovation and potentially driving talented scientists to other countries. A personal toll for researchers like Megan Murray, the situation is deeply frustrating. She hopes her work is seen as a valuable contribution to global health, but the administration's agenda casts doubt on that recognition. The uncertainty and political interference create a hostile environment for scientific inquiry. In conclusion, the administration's actions pose a grave threat to biomedical research in the United States. The disruption of funding, the erosion of academic freedom, and the potential loss of irreplaceable data will have far-reaching consequences for global health, economic innovation, and the future of scientific inquiry.